And welcome back. So, with everything that everybody's experiencing, emotionally, physically, intellectually, are you burned out? With us today, my co host, friend to the show, Dr. Gurpreet Kaur. Dr. Kaur, what is burnout?
Hi, Vincent.
Hey, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Always a pleasure. Having a beautiful woman on the show makes me look good.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Carr, first, let's talk about you. What do you do?
I am a licensed professional counselor in 4 different states: New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and DC. So I see clients remotely in all 4 states, and I am a life coach. So for coaching, I see remotely clients pretty much everywhere within the US.
Okay, so what's the difference between counseling and life coaching?
So counseling is more of a mental health therapy. Like it is interchangeably used for psychotherapy as well. And coaching is kind of, you start with coaching where you left off with counseling. So counseling is that, hey, something is getting in the way, psychological blocks, emotional blocks, mental blocks, that I am not my optimal. I am not operating at my optimal. And coaching
All
is,
right.
hey, I am doing good. I am great here, but I want to reach my full potential. So I have these goals. How do I get there?
Okay. Do some of your clients, do they switch from counseling to coaching or from coaching to counseling with certain issues?
Yes, mostly what when I had realized, originally I was only doing counseling, but as I would kind of wrap up with some of my clients, they wanted to continue working with me, but then they wouldn't kind of meet a disorder, psychological disorder diagnosis anymore. So a lot of the counseling can be done with insurances reimbursed because it is a health concern. So you can be diagnosed and get insurance reimbursement, where coaching is not. That's beyond even preventative. So you cannot do that when you are not kind of psychologically, emotionally, mentally sick. And that's when I added a coaching side to the business, that a lot of my clients wanted to kind of continue working with me, but in a different capacity. So, yes, they do switch from counseling to coaching. Rarely that it happened once the person is in the coaching category, that they would kind of regress back. But it does
Mhm.
happen. It's not unheard of. But if we keep
Mm.
up the work, they pretty much stay in the coaching category.
Okay. So, burnout.
Mhm.
Any, any, I mean, like it was really popular. I mean, conversation in the 70s where, all the big executives who went through that period of losing their job and trying to find a job and losing a job, once they got a job, they were burnt out. So,
Mhm.
I mean, what is the clinical definition of burnout?
So I guess let's start with, I'll walk us through 5 different stages of a burnout. When we reach burnout, that's actually a fourth stage of burnout. So first, I'll just
You mean
mention what those
there,
stages.
there's a is about burnout?
You're breaking, Vincent,
No?
on my end. Say that again.
Oh, okay. All right. Hold on. We're gonna okay. I'm gonna fix it. So let's take a quick commercial break. I'm gonna fix this mic because I really want to get into this conversation with Dr. Kaur. I'm Vincent Squire. We're talking about burnout with my co-host today, Dr. Gurpreet Kaur. See you in 1 minute, 4 seconds. Okay, now let's hope we got all the technical bugs worked out here. So, Dr. Kaur, you were explaining what is the 5 steps of burnout.
Yes. So when we are talking about burnout, it just doesn't happen all of a sudden that you're burnt out. So the 5 stages that one goes through on the path to burnout, kind of the first stage is honeymoon phase, and that's the stage when you are filled with excitement and energy, and maybe it's a new job, maybe new marriage, maybe being a new parent. So everybody experiences a burnout. Mothers feel burned out all the time, and even couples, and as us with careers. So this is the phase where we go above and beyond, doing maybe not setting boundaries, or not taking care of ourselves, not giving the time for adequate rest. So this is actually where it starts, when you are really excited to do what it takes. And the next phase after this is an onset of stress. So at this stage, you start to feel the burn a little. You would start to feel tired. You start to feel fatigued. You start to feel like you cannot catch your breath. So this is kind of the stage when you start to note that, hey, I am not feeling my best. And the third stage is chronic stress. Now, chronic stress, it's just like you are just muddling through life. You're just kind of, whether it's work, whether it's, Vincent, you're still here? Oh, okay. So you're just kind of doing whatever it takes, whether it's being a parent, whether it's being a spouse, whether it's being a great worker, leader. So you just kind of continue to ignore your mental health, continue to ignore early signs of stress like fatigue, not being able to focus, and
because you think it's going to pass.
yes, you just think this is life. You know, a lot of us are at the transitioning phase from just kind of having onset of stress to kind of into chronic stress. That's where we are. We just kind of think that, you know what, this is what life is. You just have to kind of muddle it through, push it through, and you keep on doing it. And your coping mechanisms don't become that I have to eat right, I have to rest up, I need to pay attention to my self-care and maybe some exercise and stuff. You just think smart ways of like creating more time, creating more energy. Like you might grab another cup of coffee, you might grab a 5-hour thing, you know, or a monster drink. So these are the things that you just constantly like need. And go ahead, sorry, I might be throwing a lot at you.
Or with that cup of coffee, you get 12 Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, you need extra sugar to go through, or yes, drive-throughs. You know, who has the time to meal preps and prepping your healthy lunches? You just grab and go, and maybe even with morning coffee, yes, there's a donut or a bagel or something. You know, so you just kind of settle into more of a chronic stress stage. You're constantly running late, you're constantly just feeling behind. That's what a chronic stage feels like. And now for some, it's a little bit more than that. For some, it's overwhelmness. They feel like they're drowning towards the end, where you start to feel the burnout. But towards the end, when we are from just onset of the stress into chronic stress, that's what we just make stress as our lifestyle, sadly.
So we are in a constant state of hypervigilance. We're just running at a high rate of speed from one task to the next.
Yep. Yes. And that's what we make our lifestyle. And that's really what we say. It's in an American way. I feel like we are in another pandemic or epidemic of just chronic stress, emotionally, mentally, and even physically. So we just kind of say this is the way to do it, especially like around here, New York, Philly, like East Coast, Northeast Coast area. You go from here, New York, to even just Florida, you'll see a massive change in how people walk, how you're served at the Starbucks here versus there. Here, like it takes maybe 30 seconds to make your drink. And that's just like, go, go, go. Come on, I got no time. Over there, like you could be at the counter for 5 minutes, you know, or even more. So it's just the pace that I feel like
5 minutes? Oh, no. I'm not doing 5 minutes in anybody's counter. I got go things to do. I'm about to be late. 5 minutes? No.
I have personally noticed that.
Is that the attitude of somebody who is?
Yep, yeah, I know. I am guilty
people
of
in line
it.
are getting impatient.
Yes, I had my actually my sister tell. I experienced that too. Although I have not worked in the city in NYC, but my sister has, and she just went for a trip to Florida, and she's used to, like, you get in a line, even if the line is like wrapped around the block, and you're still in and out. But over there, she's like, I had 3 people ahead of me, and I spent like 15 minutes just at Starbucks. It's just kind of the mentality. You kind of like, come on, like, get on, like, I've got some stuff to do. So I think we just kind of make that a norm.
Okay, so burnout. Are we rushing or to accomplish, or are we just going nowhere, but we just want to go nowhere fast?
I think, Vincent, burnout is a lot more than just rushing. Rushing is like you experience here and there when you feel like you're in a time crunch. But burnout, like, from the third stage, is a chronic stress. And then the fourth stage of that is a burnout. That's when you really feel like your flame is flickering and you need more sleep, but you can't. And a 5-hour drink is not doing anything. Now 3 cups of coffee has turned into 6 cups and still not doing the job. So now it's just kind of emotionally starting to feel down. And now at this stage, you might feel like you're anxious, you're really overwhelmed, you might have depressive symptoms or some other psychological breakdown where just you feel like you never would be able to get ahead of life. So that's the stage. That's the stage from like, hey, I am enthusiastic and, like, really ready to rock and take over the world, to downhill. And that's only the fourth stage.
Does it? That's just the fourth stage. The fifth one's worse.
The fifth is worst. Yes, and I'll tell you, it's just habitual burnout. It's when you probably start to, I don't know, experiment with other drugs, maybe other stuff, like you might have health breakdown, maybe some stomach issues, GI stuff, chronic headaches. And although all these things could show up as early as onset of stress, which is the second stage, but at this stage, it's a norm. Or you could have COVID. Yes, that was it. It has been really bad for the last 2.5 years.
Okay, so speaking of COVID, has the onset of COVID and the last 2 years plus of people experiencing everything, yet not doing anything, complete isolation, yet, constantly online, has that increased burnout?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Really?
I mean, that was not our lifestyle. We used to go to office, take your office stuff, and then come back, and it was compartmentalized, for most of us, not all of us, but it was compartmentalized. Even if you worked from home, you still had that separation. Kids go to school, they come back, and then you take care of them. Not that for 1.5 to almost 2 years, you are trying to be a teacher, you're trying to be a parent, and you're trying to be a worker, leader, all at the same time. And your attention, as the research says, that it takes, I think, 9 minutes for you to focus when you are switching from one task to the other. Imagine if you constantly have to do that, how much time you're wasting and how much energy is gone in just switching from one task to the other. And we are trying to do 3 or 4 of our responsibilities simultaneously.
So research proves that there's no such thing as a perfect multitasker. because you're
Nope.
still blowing 9 minutes to get focused.
Yes. In fact, the research shows that multitaskers, they cost more money, more time to their companies, and more errors. And more health to themselves.
Great. So so multitaskers are huge candidates for burnout.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I think I may be burnt out. Okay. So I'm going to relax into this next break with Dr. Gurpreet Kaur, and you as well may be burnt out. But we're going to finish this up in just 2 minutes, 2 seconds.
Your small business struggled through the pandemic to stay afloat. You need more exposure. Radio and printed ads are good for pet liners. Television commercials are overpriced. Social media ads start cheap, end up expenses. You need an ad team that can get you multimedia exposure. You need MyTV. MyTV will develop a commercial tailored to your business. To get your maximum sales, contact sales@theratemytv.church.
Life has many twists and turns, and it can take you off track. Disakajo's Flow is here to help you dance through the twists and lean into the turns. From spiritual trauma-informed life coaching, to book publishing, to record producing, to credit empowerment, to amazing travel, we are here to change your whole life. Let us help you get your life back on track.
Okay, now I'm starting to realize, Doctor, that okay, I'm experiencing burnout, but this has been a pattern or a lifestyle for me for the last 20 years. I mean, I just consider myself to be high energy and high strung. But I took a trip to Hawaii, and rather than me relaxing and taking it easy, I was in hyper go mode. yes, let's do this. Let's see this. Let's do that. Wind sailing, horseback riding, parasailing. Yeah, I want to go fight a shark. Oh, well, let's go to a volcano. Let's run up the mountain. Let's go here. Let's hit the rainforest. I mean, it was like people were with me and they were like, where'd you go? Where? I mean, is that a norm of burnout?
I would say that tendency is a risk factor, that a lot of us tend to be perfectionists. So that I would say is a kind of a perfectionist tendency, or a sign that you could be a perfectionist, that you just don't want to miss out on things. You feel like everybody is doing this and I want to be successful. If I am here after 10 hours flight, I'm going to take it all in, so it's
or while I'm on a 10-hour flight, I got my laptop out and I'm doing a lot of work.
Exactly. Yes. I think it's just we have set the bar so high, and that's the culture and the society we have created, that it's just a go, 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 and you continue to set the bar high. One thing with the perfectionists is that you set a goal and then they achieve it before they even kind of take the moment to indulge in it and maybe even appreciate themselves and have self-care around it or anything. They set a new goal.
I'm on to the next one.
Exactly.
I don't have time to celebrate me. I'm on to the next one. Okay.
Yep. So
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that let's maybe kind of review some of the other risk factors, kind of like maybe some of the signs.
Exactly what you must have read my mind. I was going to say, let's review some of the. Okay, so go ahead. The other risk factors.
So there could be multiple of risk factors. I'll just kind of mention 4 or 5, some of the main ones that really contribute to burnout. It really kind of comes down to your personality and how you see the world or perceive the world, in addition to maybe what your parents and upbringing has been like. Maybe you just grew up seeing people like that. So one, as we were talking about perfectionism, unrealistic expectations. When we have unrealistic expectations, we just tend to go above and beyond, do more, and that is kind of a recipe for, heading towards a burnout. And lack of control. And a lot of us feel lack of control, maybe due to what happened in our lives or upbringing or some other factors, that when we are just feeling that psychological mental pressure, maybe lack of control, you feel you have a disabled child as a parent, or you feel lack of control as your boss is a micromanager, so whenever you feel like there's a lack of control, these would be the signs that you want to look for. No matter what you do, you're going to be headed towards burnout. And high demands. Some of our careers have really high demands and maybe turn around and on the go. And I'm just kind of thinking about this press and media stuff. Like, it's some of the things that you see, how much it takes on the last minute and stuff, like, to produce a show like this. Like, it goes a lot into it, so those type of demands, if you are in a demanding industry, for example, that just keeps on, not just you keep on going from one goal to the other, but it's an industry norm that, you are just one goal to the other, and one end of the month to the next one. And that's just how you live. And there aren't slowdowns, and isolation is another sign. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Back up a little.
No. I was just going to say, media well, media and human services, it's a pressure cooker because everything is based upon time. You've got X amount of time to get to this point, to that point, to that point, because there's a commercial coming. If that commercial doesn't get out, then that means that, somebody is not going, there's a possibility that somebody's child, namely mine, won't be able to go through college debt free.
Yep, we create that. We create those demands. Or the society does, and we just fall for them.
So, but those demands are so unrealistic.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
But these are the things to
one.
look for. These are the things to look for, that if these things are present in your life, in your environment, that you are at risk for burnout. So I'll share.
Okay.
That's how I want you to see it. Not that high demand means a burnout, or that lack of control or unrealistic expectations. I mean, definitely push yourself. That's who we are as human beings. We always push ourselves. That's not the problem. But if that's a norm around you, that would be the risk factor.
So the objective is to, we'll talk about that later. Okay, so the next one.
Okay. So two more that I want to say would include like isolation and lack of support. And they both kind of go hand in hand. If you feel like you cannot talk to anybody, you're by yourself, nobody would understand what you're going through, you cannot share that with anybody. And so that hence you feel that lack of support, whether it's psychological, emotional, professional, physical, in whatever capacity, those would be the kind of risk factors for you that you would be at risk or could be at risk going towards a burnout.
Okay. Wow. Oh,
so much.
Wow. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say so much. I mean, we don't realize that this is, we feel like this is just a norm, right? But once we really isolate what really is a norm, what is that baseline versus what's that heightened state of being, those are two different things.
So in a constant state of heightened sense of being, hypervigilance, or as they used to say in the old days, it's just a go-getter, you could possibly be burning it.
You possibly could be on the path for burnout. But those are just the risk factors, right? Those are just to kind of look for. Let's real quickly look at some of the signs and symptoms to see if you already have stepped on that path of burnout. Because if you're starting to experience these things, these symptoms and signs, that means, you're on the road.
So that we don't get burnt out, let's take a break. We'll be right back. And this is going to be a very short break. And we're going to burn out that commercial. Vincent Squire with Dr. Gurpreet Kaur. And we're talking about burnout. Be right back. See you soon.
Your small business struggled through the pandemic to stay afloat. You need more exposure. Radio and printed ads are good for pet liners. Television commercials are overpriced. Social media ads start cheap, end up expenses. You need an ad team that can get you multimedia exposure. You need MyTV. MyTV will develop a commercial tailored to your business. To get your maximum sales, contact sales@ratemytv.church.
Life has many twists and turns, and it can take you off track. Disaka Joe's Flow is here to help you dance through the twists and lean into the turns. From spiritual trauma-informed life coaching, to book publishing, to record producing, to credit empowerment, to amazing travel, we are here to change your whole life. Let us help you get your life back on track.
Dr. Carr, this is incredible. I mean, you could be actually getting yourself into a stage of burnout. Uh, for those people who are watching the show and not monitoring themselves, but monitoring others in their family, what are some symptoms that they can look for?
Absolutely. So here's whether you are looking out for somebody else or for your own life and career. These are some of the 6 signs that I want you to kind of look out for. Exhaustion. If you constantly feel you're running up against the wall or not having any energy or just feeling tired all day, no matter what you do, and coffee isn't doing anything, other things that you are taking in, not doing anything, look for that. Exhaustion is a sign or symptom of that it's not the only symptom, it's one of them, but look out for that you're on the road for burnout. Now, the next one is a really big one. Apathy and cynicism, right? You just become cynical and you start to feel like closed up and numbed to your own feelings and to others' feelings. So if you just in a general have started to feel like I don't care type of attitude, or like jaded eyes kind of going through the world with that jaded eyes type of lens, that you look out for that. That definitely means, even if this is the only thing you're feeling, this is a big symptom that you're on the path to burnout. So decreased satisfaction. You want me to keep going, Vincent, or you want to take it slow?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm stuck on. I'm stuck on cynical and not feeling anything, or as they used to say, the hood. You just don't give up.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yes, and that's towards yourself and others. You just kind of become numb. So, other one is decreased satisfaction, whether it's being a mom or dad or not feeling much satisfaction in life or in your career or what do you do. You're just going through the motion. There's no life in your eyes.
Is sex included in that decreased satisfaction?
Oh yeah, that's a big physical symptom of it, but that's not the only one. But yes.
Really? So, okay.
Decreased productivity, and this one is a good one to look out for. Good one to look out for. That if you feel like you are putting in hours, but the output is not much, that you're just sitting and staring at your screen or the work that you have to do, and that you just feel like you have accomplished nothing, and not a lot, but you
just spinning your wheels.
You're just spinning your wheels. Yes. And any other than like psychological, physical,
instead of gaining traction.
Exactly. Yep. So we talked about sex. That's one of the like physical symptoms, but any of the other physical symptoms, not sleeping, not eating much, your appetite changes, you cannot rest well, maybe like your mood is sad or kind of melancholy, or headaches. Any of these physical symptoms or the onset of any physical symptoms, look out for burnout, that if you're on the road to burnout. And another big one is withdrawal from social activities. You just start to feel like, hey, you're not enjoying your family much. You're not enjoying the outings much. You just want to stay by yourself. We talked about isolation, right? as kind of one of the stages where you kind of start to kind of feel right at the onset of stress. So that's one to look out for when friends and family gatherings don't kind of mean much. You don't feel, again, satisfaction. You just don't feel like, there is much to life. You're just going through motion. There's not much life. So those are some of the things to look out for.
Dr. Kaur, how about if you just tired of the same stories at the family cookout?
Maybe you are the one to change them then, instead of like participating. That would be like, if you are refreshed, you have like, maybe everybody around you is burnt out too. It's the same old stuff.
Like, yeah, I'm tired of cousin Jean talking about how hard it is to find a man in her life. I mean, I'm tired of the other one talking about her kid is on his way to Harvard and he's only in 3rd grade. I mean, I'm really is that burnout? I mean, or is it just you just tired of your family?
That's just life. That's just family. Yep.
Oh, okay. All right. Whew. Oh, for the record, I'm not talking about my family.
We got it.
Okay, no lightning coming for me yet. So go ahead, doctor. Go ahead. Okay, so what can we do if we are noticing some of the signs, some of the symptoms?
Yes. So let me kind of give you some sort of prevention plan or something things that you can do. When I start working with any of my clients, whether they're coaching or counseling, I ask for their physical activity level. Exercise. Movement just we come from, animal kingdom. And if we know that's all they do, they just move around, right? So our body is built with movement, and there is research beyond our, like mounting of the evidence, how important movement is for our body, whether it's for diabetes, whether it's for digestion, whether it's for just improving your mood. In fact, like if you are just brisk walking or running for 20 minutes, 3 to 4 consecutive days, it's as effective as a low dose of antidepressants. Why not do it? So that would be the first thing. And if you want to get your energy back, like exhaustion usually is the very first symptom that people notice, that why am I just tired? So look out for that and start moving your body. If you don't have that in your routine, do whatever it takes to take some time out for yourself. And that could be, if you could do something like some breath work with it, that would even be good. Like whether it's mindfulness, breathing exercises, meditation, those things are good, like psychological exercises as well as physical exercises. Now, any sort of exercise is good. But yoga, for example, is a great, like it's killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Go ahead.
So taking and investing in self-care really helps with burnout.
Absolutely. And that's what I was going to say next, that love yourself. And what I mean by self-love or loving yourself, it means that when you are on the road for burnout, you're doing things for everybody else. Whether you're pleasing your children, whether you're pleasing your spouse, or you're pleasing your boss, we are doing things for others. Loving yourself means have a sit down with yourself and say, what do I want? What do I need? And then go and do that.
Hmm. Okay. What do I
right?
want?
So
Cuban cigars, vintage scotch, and 2 hours of no phone calls.
that could do it. As long as cigars and scotch is not just every day, like you're trying to do a chronic burnout coping mechanism.
I want to, hey, if I'm going to cope, I'm going to cope big. I mean, like,
But 2 hours of no
no,
phone
but I
calls is
mean,
a good one. If that's what
well,
probably
actually,
leads to your. Sorry, I was going to
well,
say if
this,
that's what leads you to burnout, then taking the time to not do the things that contribute to your burnout.
okay, self-love is not being selfish.
Well, I teach selfishness every day or any day. And here's what I mean. You said you took a long flight to Hawaii, right? I'm sure before your plane, even
Yes.
before it moved, they're going to say, hey, put your mask on first before you help anybody else putting theirs on, right? So that's what I mean by selfishness. Like
Right.
you have to identify what
I see.
you need and go do that. Fulfill your needs first. I'm not even going to wants, needs, right? Go fulfill your needs first, then go on fulfilling world's needs. So be all selfish any day.
I see. Okay, so look, I don't feel bad about taking an extra 10 minutes at the gym because I need that.
Yes, if you need that. Yeah.
Okay, great.
So some of the other
there's
things
a woman who's been cussing me out spending too much. I was just going to say there was a woman who may be cussing me out for an extra 10 minutes on the treadmill, but
oh, because
it's all about me,
too?
sister. Exactly.
Well, that's different.
So go ahead.
Yes, but saying? Go ahead, be selfish. If that's what you need, that's what you need. You need 10 more minutes of cardio. Yeah. So another one before we run out of time, I am being conscious.
So, okay.
I was going to say time management,
Thanks,
and then
because my producer would like cut you off.
Yes, I will wrap it up with this: that time management. If you don't manage your time well and you don't have a control over your calendar, you are headed towards burnout.
Oh, I see. If your calendar is managing you rather than you managing your calendar.
I mean, but if you manage your calendar really well, it's okay that your calendar manages you. That's okay, because you're first telling your calendar what to do, what you want to do, and then your calendar is just reminding you. But I am talking about when other people are managing your calendar. Hey, show up here. Hey, we have this thing to go. This way, you're coming. So if other people are managing your calendar, that's not good. But if calendar is telling you, reminding you of the things that you've already identified as high priority and they're on your calendar, that's okay.
Okay, good. Well, I am so sorry, but we are out of time for today, Dr. Kaur. We have to have you back.
Yes, sure. Mental health is my passion.
In case anybody else wants to. Okay, great. Well, we'll see if we can get you for our next Mental Health Monday segments.
Sure.
Or Wellness Wednesday. Okay. Dr. Kaur, in case someone wants to fill up your calendar with some of their issues that you can coach them through, how can people reach you?
Sure. My website is the best source. So it's livingexcellencetoday.com. There are plenty of blog articles, other resources that you can maneuver through even on your own. So my contact information is on there as well, and all my social media. So I'll go through my social media as well. But if only one piece of contact I could give you is my website, livingexcellencetoday.com. And newsletter I send out on every Thursday, and there is a newsletter tab over there on my website to connect with me, that I kind of provide manageable, just actionable tips every week to keep your mental health, emotional health up to par. My social media is on there as well, and then I am active on mainly on Instagram, but also on Facebook as well, with Living
Great.
Excellence
Well,
Today.
Dr. Gurpreet. Okay. Well, Dr. Kaur, it's always a joy to have you on the show. So we'll see if we can schedule you again so you can give us some more tips to live a better life or living in our excellence.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having me again. It's always fun.
So for you at home or on social media, or, those of you who are carrying around your smart devices and watching this show, burnout is huge. Some of the things that we didn't get into is some of the adverse effects of burnout, and it can be very tragic. So I think self-care and self-love is not selfish. So take some time out for yourself. Enjoy the fruits of your labor and stop letting people dictate your calendar. Because if you're gone, then who's going to take care of all the tasks that you do? So as Dr. Kaur said, take care of you first. Just like, they say if the plane's crashing, put the mask on yourself first and then your children. Okay.
Yep.
Take care of yourself first. Now, so we will see you tomorrow with Freestyle Friday and, of course, comedian extraordinaire, Sandy Hackett, the son of comedian great Buddy Hackett. So, God's willing, we'll see you all tomorrow. Peace, love, joy.
Good.